Hello and welcome to the evening news for today, Thursday, January 8, 2015. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, pensioners in remigrant scam appear in court to answer tax fraud charges. India to provide $50 million loan for East Bank and East Coast Bypass Road. Lead project still being rolled out. 80-year-old woman commits suicide at Golden Fleece. Heavy downpours cause widespread flooding and family mourning death of 9-year-old due to cancer. Now for the news in detail. The two overseas-based pensioners implicated in the remigrant scam involving two luxury vehicles today made a court appearance to answer the charges levied against them. More in this report.
Remigrant couple Naru Tandio and Garbasi Birchnanan made their first court appearance this morning at the Georgetown Magistrates Court to face charges levied against them for allegedly defrauding authorities of more than $100 million in import taxes for two luxury vehicles purchased in the United States. The GRA is claiming that the Birchnans of number 61 Village Quarantine Berbice imported two Lexus SUV motor vehicles into Guyana under the government's remigrant scheme, but gave the vehicles to publisher of Kaitra News, Glenn Lal, and his wife Bina. This is in breach of the Customs Act and the conditions of granting the duty-free concession. The Birchnans pleaded not guilty on 4 separate charges, which were read to them individually. The charge stated that between June 18 and September 13, 2013, they knowingly concerned, aided, and abetted each other in the fraudulent evasion of import duties of customs on two Lexus LX 570 motor vehicles. The remigrant couple also answered to the charge, which stated that during the same period they made and subscribed to a false declaration in a matter relating to the customs by falsely declaring the value of two Lexus vehicles to be US $44,158. Magistrate Judy Latchman released the couple under their own recognizance and told them to return to court on February 6. The couple was represented by attorneys Sandal Kissoon and Robin Hunt. On October 13, the Lals appeared before the courts to answer to the said 4 charges, to which they pleaded not guilty and was released on self-bail. For the evening news, Lexus Rodney.
In this report, we tell you now that Guyana has received a whopping $50 million loan from the Indian government for the construction of the East Bank and East Coast Demerara Bypass Road project. More in this report.
This announcement was made by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi during a meeting with President Donald Ramotar on Thursday. President Donald Ramotar, along with First Lady Deolachmi Ramotar, are on an official visit to India for the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Chandinagar as chief guests. The officials met on the sidelines where the Indian Prime Minister informed President Ramotar that the country has approved a new line of credit to the tune of US $50 million for the East Bank East Coast Demerara Road Link project. The feasibility study for this project has been completed and government was contemplating the way forward. The Road Link project will see the two main highways connected in an effort to reduce traffic congestion for commuters on the roadways. Only recently in his New Year's message, President Ramotar pointed out that the project will catalyze US $65 million in investment to build 20 kilometers of roads and supporting infrastructure. Meanwhile, during the meeting, Prime Minister Modi also agreed to a concessional credit to supply a passenger ferry which will help Guyana to overcome transportation problems in the northwest region. Additionally, the Indian Prime Minister disclosed that his government will be setting up its first IT Center of Excellence in South America and chose Guyana as the location. He said that this initiative was taken against the backdrop of interactions held with South American leaders on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in 2014. Reporting for the evening news, Vanu Manikchan.
Meanwhile, President Donald Ramotar encouraged Indian officials and members of the Indian diaspora to provide leadership in representing the interests and concerns of the developing nations of the world. Let's find out more in this report.
At the inaugural session of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas centenary celebrations currently being held in Gujarat, India, President Ramotar told the Indian Prime Minister, among other officials, that there are opportunities for India to be more active as a participant in the global development effort. The head of state explained that while India is a member of some of the regional development banks, such as the African Development Bank,
its presence in the Caribbean is absent. The president said it is striking that they are not members of the regional and sub-regional development banks, IDB and CDB. He said India's presence in the Caribbean will not only bring political opportunity, but also important business opportunities for Indian companies and Indian nationals within the hemisphere. Ramotar also called for the air and maritime links to be strengthened to allow for easier flow of goods and services and people between Guyana and India. The Pravesi Bharatiya Divas celebrations is special this year as it marks a century since Mahatma Gandhi's return to India from South Africa after fighting for justice for 21 years, then returning to India and subsequently leading the country to its freedom. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Erica Williams.
And the United Kingdom today called on President Donald Ramotar to end the prorogation of Parliament as it expressed concern over the state of affairs here. The Foreign Office Minister, Tobias Ellwood, also called for the long overdue local government elections to be held. He said the UK is calling on all stakeholders to seek solutions to the political and socio-economic challenges facing Guyana so that the country can develop in a fair, democratic and equitable way. Chief of Party Glenn Bradbury is maintaining that the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, funded Leadership and Democratic Program LEAD project, which got off to a controversial start, should not be seen as an initiative with a hidden agenda, even though it will continue to be rolled out during 2015, an election year. Swetana Marshall reports.
With general and regional elections scheduled for this year, critics are already pointing fingers at the Leadership and Democracy Program LEAD, an initiative which seeks to promote democracy and simultaneously build the capacity of the citizenry. But in an exclusive interview with the Evening News, Chief of Party Glenn Bradbury shot down the claims, emphasizing that there will be no political interference.
For us to maintain a position of total impartiality in the work we do and ensure that that is being seen as well. Sometimes the unknown leads people to make irrational comments and feelings are developed on the good or the bad of what an entity is doing in their nation. You can't stop that, but you can, by your actions, be known. It's more of a, from our perspective, giving programs that assist based on consultations with the people we're trying to assist. We have no hidden agenda. There is no nefarious scheme or plan.
He explained that the project, which will come to an end in March, is designed to promote understanding and active participation in democratic governance. The implementation process of the LEAD project is being undertaken in active partnership with a variety of national institutions, including the National Assembly, the Ghana Elections Commission, the Women and Gender Equality Commission, various youth organizations, and civil society. Bradbury said there is a high possibility that the town hall meetings, which were held on local government elections, will be modified to cater for general and regional elections if they are called by President Donald Ramotar.
Well, what we've done is not so much suspended, it's more or less a realization that people would not be interested in learning about local government elections in the middle of a national election campaign. They would probably be more interested in how GCOM, for example, will be conducting the elections and what are the rights and roles and responsibilities of citizens.
The LEAD program, which is being executed by the International Republican Institute, IRI, on behalf of USAID, got off to quite a controversial start when the Donald Ramotar administration placed it on hold in 2013. But after months of deliberation, the project was placed back on track, but with the exclusion of the component, which was designed to have consultations with individual political parties. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
Various areas in and around the capital city were severely flooded following heavy downpours earlier today, which caused the closure of several city businesses. Let's find out the details from Royden James.
When the evening news visited some sections of the city today, floodwater was visible through several of the main streets. As the floodwater slowly began to recede during the course of the day, garbage and other forms of debris surfaced in the center of the roadways in the city. Meanwhile, sections of Border Market was completely flooded on the inside and as a result was closed for business. However, vendors operating on the outside of the market remained open. The preparedness of businesses along Regent and Water streets was astonishing, as almost every business was elevated, while others had sandbags at their entrances to prevent the entry of the floodwaters. Some car drivers had also complained about the floodwater reaching inside of their vehicles. The government had prepared for the rainy season by cleaning and clearing drains in and around the city, while vendors along Regent Street had indulged in cleaning drains. In addition, the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority had also acquired mobile pumps to remove excess water from the land, but some persons are claiming that the preparations were not enough. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Royden James.
An 8-year-old woman from Golden Fleece village on the Essequibo coast has ended her life tragically. Dead is Tinka Ramsamuj, who was discovered hanging from her bathroom rafter in the lower flat of her home on Wednesday evening at around 17 hours. According to information received, the elderly woman went to take her evening shower, and after hours passed, her sister noticed that she was not coming out. When her sister checked, she discovered her body hanging from a rafter. In shock, she screamed and the entire neighborhood gathered at the scene. Ramsamuj lately returned from the United States. Her entire family is said to be in New York, and she was living with her sister at the time of her death. Ramsamuj's death is the second reported suicide case in Region 2, Pomeroon Supernam, for 2015. Stay tuned to the Evening News. Morning still ahead. Welcome back. This is the Evening News on TVG. For going beyond the call of duty as an emergency medical technician, EMT, of the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, Ron Morris was today awarded the Morris Foundation Award for being the best performing EMT for 2014 while at the hospital's resource center. More in this report.
The Budden Emergency Medical Services Unit for the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation was today appreciated for their great service to the public in 2014. Ron Morris was awarded the Morris Foundation Award and the Minister of Health Award for being the best performing technician for the year.
Ron is actually being recognized now as a training and development officer for the EMS. He's the guy who's doing all the work behind the scene, and for some reason I get the credit. So thanks a lot for all the work, Ron, and we appreciate the work that you do.
Congratulations. You did well. Good.
Dr. Zulfikar Box, the medical director of EMS, told this newscast that Morris's contribution within 2014 has been quite instrumental to the overall development of the EMT initiative.
His performances was basically, it went beyond his nature of job duty. He's been doing all of the behind the scenes work in terms of getting the quality analysis and control, and doing most of the teaching and continuing education in collaboration with me. So he's been developing all the infrastructure and framework for the EMS. And those were work that was actually beyond his call of duty.
Also, the entire EMT group was recognized by Minister of Health Barry Ramsaran for their great performances during 2014. The minister stressed that the unit worked as a team and was able to ensure the success of a relatively new initiative in Guyana.
We would like to make a second recognition, right? As I said, this small group of emerging workers, new to the health workforce, has done well as a group. So we like to recognize the group for the good performance as a team, as the most recognized emerging team of healthcare providers in the country.
The Morris Foundation Award has originated from the Morris Foundation of the United States of America. The foundation collaborates with the hospital to develop the EMS division. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
Meanwhile, the government of Guyana today donated a spanking new $11 million ambulance to the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation in a bid to enhance the hospital's emergency medical services. Erica Williams reports.
The emergency medical services of the Georgetown Public Hospital today benefited from a new ambulance from the Ministry of Health. Health Minister Barry Ramsaran handed over the keys to the CEO of the hospital, Michael Cann.
We're handing over one ambulance. It's an addition to the fleet, and I'd like to say this already. Guyana has been given some support from another country. There's a Turkish donation which is being used to procure 2 more ambulances sometime in the next few weeks. So Mr. Khan, I'd like to hand this over to your EMT. Okay, that's the key for the ambulance downstairs, and we hope that you will be able to make the best use of it.
Emergency medical technician Ron Morris, who was recently recognized as the best EMT for 2014, explained how useful this addition will be in the execution of the unit's daily duties.
The ambulance that we have was donated, we will be adding that to our EMS fleet. The hope is that we will expand this service so that we can service more public citizens for an emergency. There's monitors in the ambulance that we would use to monitor our patients and other equipment that is very necessary for monitoring patients that need to be transported to our emergency room or any other health facility as necessary.
He detailed that the EMTs are well on their way to becoming exemplary practitioners of the health services, and the addition of another ambulance will facilitate this.
This will make 2 ambulances that we have for use, because what we do now is that we only use one. We have several ambulances. We have about 4 or 5 ambulances that we have access to, but we only have one per shift. Our shift covers 8 hours, which is 3 shifts for the 24 hours day. So we have one ambulance. Now with this added ambulance and with more EMTs coming on board, and in the expansion we will have 2 ambulances working in one shift.
Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Erica Williams.
And government is still very keen on seeing the completion of the $18 million specialty hospital and has built a strong alliance with the provider of the concessionary loan financing to see it become a reality. Here's Alexis Rodney with the details.
Construction on the state-of-the-art medical facility was halted last September after government took the contract from Sorrento Engineering Company Limited following the discovery of major discrepancies. A month after yanking the contract, government, through the Attorney General Chambers, had also filed a lawsuit against the Indian-based company for in excess of US $100 million for alleged fraud, breach of contract, and delays in works done. All this was done while the company strongly contended that it had done nothing wrong. Head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luncheon, told the Evening News on Wednesday that subsequently to the termination of the contract, central government had moved to inform both the government of India and the funding agency, the Exim Bank, of its determination to see the hospital to completion.
It is in that regards that the government has reached out. The government of Guyana, that is, has reached out to the government of India with certain proposals with regards to the future. How specifically concessionary loan financing can continue to be provided and utilized for the completion of this project.
He said government is now awaiting a response from the Indian government before the next step is taken. The Sorrento Engineering Company was contracted by Guyana's government back in September 2012 to design, build, equip, test, and commission a surgical specialty hospital at Turkine, Greater Georgetown. The contract was signed to the tune of US $18,180,000. But according to government, the company had failed to perform its obligations under the terms of the contract and given account for the advanced payment of US $4,285,440. Instead, the company submitted fabricated, unsigned, and sometimes inflated invoices with no evidence of actual payments made or any document supporting the expenditure claimed. For the Evening News, Alexis Rodney.
Members of the local and international mining fraternity are to benefit from the provision of a wide range of technical expertise as renowned Guyanese-Canadian mining engineer Dr. Andrew Ramsaran formally commissions AAR Mining Consultancy Forum in Guyana. The details in this report.
Despite the low prices for gold on the stock market, Dr. Ramcharan ventured onto this prospect as he believes the long-term forecast has potential for maximum benefits in the mining industry.
With the gold price dropping, we believe, this might be on the upturn. We believe that the long-term forecast for gold may go up. And getting into the market at this stage is going to give us a better opportunity to work with these companies and grow with the companies as they go into production.
The firm will offer a wide range of services of international standards to the Guyanese populace.
For example, you're one of the mining companies here. You're listed on the stock market in Canada. You have to do like your resource estimate, your reserve estimate, which would basically define, in summary, like the amount of gold you have and how much you can mine. So like those are some of the things that we can come in from a technical side and advise you, like, okay, we're going to take your drill hole database, or even before that stage, we're going to advise you on exploration, where to drill, where potentially you can hit the gold mineralization. We can take the drill hole data, analyze it, advise which labs to send so that you can have your assay results, create the resource estimate, come up with operation costs, which is like the mining costs, processing, G&A, capital expenditures, and stuff like that.
Dr. Ramcharan also believes that there is a market for such a firm in Guyana, despite the fact that the country's mining conditions are different from other parts of the world.
I think the key thing is that, we understand the local terrain better. We come with the experience and exposure that these companies may not necessarily see. And more importantly, I think our rates are going to be much more competitive than their rates. And as any foreign company, you always want to support your locals in where you're going to be producing.
Dr. Ramcharan will bring to the table advanced technologies that will greatly benefit the mining sector in Guyana.
We have access to all the major consulting firms in the world. So in that way, we can offer the wide range from pre-exploration to mine closure.
About the new technologies you'll be introducing to Guyana in this field.
Okay, so some of the new technology we're going to be introducing, it's not new on the world market, but we have the ability, we have softwares that could look at the drill hole data, look at trends, look how the deposit is running. We could do high-level geostatistics, very in-depth geostatistics of variograms, which gives you a better accuracy of estimation of gold in the ground, or copper, or silver, or uranium, or any other commodity.
Davina Samaru for the Evening News.
3 Indian nationals graduated with their Bachelors of Science in Nursing from the Rajiv Gandhi University of Science and Technology last evening. More in this report.
A fairly new institution in Guyana, the Rajiv Gandhi University of Science and Technology, located at 135 Sheriff Street, Georgetown, hosted its first graduation exercise at the Pegasus Hotel. The graduates Baiji Biju, Sheetal George and Gina Kuriakos were already registered nurses and currently employed at the Balwant Singh Hospital as part-time workers, will have to decide if they will return to India or stay in Guyana. In his remarks during the simple ceremony, Prime Minister Samuel Hines commended the board of the university for starting a school that opens the door for persons from other parts of the world to join.
As I join you here this evening at this first graduation of the Rajiv Gandhi University of Science and Technology, it's good for us in Guyana to have an open door to persons from other parts of the world. We used to say and we used to celebrate that we were a country of 6 peoples from all continents, and therefore we are ready to receive people from all continents.
He further noted that there is potential growth for more universities in
university training, maybe technical training in aircraft maintenance, pilots, and whatever. This is a potential growth area for us in Guyana, an important growth area for us in Guyana. We have the advantages of a climate that is not too demanding. We can have lower costs in living, in the requirements for living. Housing and clothing and food could be lower, and these are important components of the costs of university, of young people going to university, particularly to get a first degree.
Also charging well wishes to the university and the students were the Vice-Chancellor of the University, Dr. Sherlock Rewana, and Dean of the University, Dr. Emmanuel Cummins. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
Now for some news from the court. 22-year-old Howard Ramboros of Lot 6 Meadowbank, East Bank, Demerara, was remanded after being arraigned on 3 counts of robbery under arms. The minor appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Magistrate Judy Latzman. The defendant, who was represented by a legal counsel, pleaded not guilty to all the charges. The first charge alleged that on October 31, 2014, at 8th Street Diamond Housing Scheme, East Bank, Demerara, while being armed with a gun, he robbed Anasa Charles of one Alcatel cell phone, valued $10,000. The second charge read that on the same date, he robbed Soba Prasad of $500,000 in cash, and the final charge stated that he robbed Marsata Singh of $40,000 in cash. The police prosecutor, Inspector Joel Ricknott, objected to bail, citing the nature, prevalence, and seriousness of the offence, the fact that a firearm was used and the defendant may be a flight risk, as well as a penalty attached to the offence. The prosecution's objections were upheld and the defendant was refused bail. The matter is adjourned until January 23. More news ahead. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the Evening News on TVG. Head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luncheon, today called for an engagement with former Auditor General Anand Gulsaran after he alleged that Guyanese will be saddled with the repaying of a loan expended on the fiber optic cable project. Let's find out more in this report.
During the post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday at the office of the President, Dr. Luncheon said he needs Gulsaran to state his concerns to him before a clear response can be given on the matter.
I need to be advised specifically what the former Auditor General said, what his reservations were before I could mount a reasonably adequate response.
Via his column published in portions of the media, Gulsaran said the government acquired a loan from the Chinese Import-Export Bank to backpart the project. He expressed concern that the future generation will have to repay the loan from 2017 to 2032. Dr. Luncheon further divulged the present state of the project after he recently disclosed that he's working along with a local and foreign firm for remedial works on the cable.
We do have a form proposal that is under consideration from the consortium dealing with the quid pro quo, what would be provided in exchange or to meet the cost of repairing the cable and restoring it to serviceability.
It was reported that sections of the cable have been damaged. He said that all 3 stages of the government's information communication technology project have been completed and is being overlooked by e-governance. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Erica Williams.
A Diamond Housing Scheme East Bank Demerara family is again traumatized after bandits broke into their home for a second time while they were at work. The perpetrators took away several pieces of jewelry and a cellular phone after ransacking the one-bedroom house located at Lot 36, Section B, Block X, 7th Avenue and Diamond Housing Scheme. This newscast understands that the young couple and their 2-year-old son had left home at about 6 hours on Tuesday and returned home about 19 hours 30 when they found the house ransacked. The victim, Marisa Surajpal, told this newscast that the bandits may have gained entry into the house through a window at the back by removing 2 bars. The woman said that they saw, they immediately alerted neighbors and summoned the police. Diamond Scheme continues to be a safe haven for criminals because of the layout of the well-developed community. Almost every day there are break-and-enters because majority of the population are working class and are barely home, which criminals take advantage of. This newscast was told that over the last month there were at least 2 break-and-enters in the same street. The family of 9-year-old Javier Anderson, who has been battling cancer for over 1 year, is now mourning after he succumbed on Tuesday at the Georgetown Public Hospital pediatric ward at around 13 hours. The details in this report.
Javier Anderson was 8 years old when he was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, a cancer that gruesomely attacks the bones. Just a few months ago, Javier was bedbound in the pediatric ward as the cancer started attacking his lungs. His mother, Lizana Anderson, described what transpired during her last moments with her son as he died in her arms.
I told him, I said, Javier, tell me something. So tell me anything. Tell me you love me. And he's like, you want me? And then he stretched out his hand for me to hold it. And he squeezed my hand and he let go. He had to catch back his breath. And then he said, open your eyes. Open your eyes. If you're hearing me, open your eyes. And then he said, open it again. He opened it. But everything just happens on the 3rd time. Why? But anyway, so then I said, open your eyes one more time. And that's when he didn't open it. But he was in my arms.
Javier's younger brother often asked about his whereabouts, to which his mother would reply that he is in the care of Jesus.
I asked him, I said, Javon, you know where is Javier? He said, yes, Javier gone with Jesus. But he said, Mommy, Jesus could lift Javier because you remember you used to lift him and then you say your back hurting. You think Jesus' back gonna hurt you when he lift Javier? I said, no, Javon. Jesus loves Javier more than I do. And Jesus wants him to be with him all the time now, so he's there.
His funeral is being arranged for Saturday. Javier will always be remembered for his resilience, determination, and strength during his battle against the dreadful disease. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
Head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luncheon, today called on Digicel to outline its plans to run fiber optic cable in Guyana.
What is necessary now is for Digicel to advise what are the steps that they plan to take to use this no objection disapproval given by the government to land cable in Guyana to make that a reality.
Dr. Luncheon's comments came after persons in some quarters have accused the government of refusing to grant permission to the telecommunications company to land fiber optic cable in Guyana. The head of the Presidential Secretariat stated that the government has granted permission to Digicel to land cable. Recently after, there have been stir-ups on the fiber optic cable project. Former head of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce, Clinton Erling, said such projects should be left in the hands of the private sector. He blasted the government for getting involved in the project, but Prime Minister Samuel Hines said the private sector did not commit to the project initially. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Erica Williams.
Stay tuned, your regional, international, and Brit reports are still ahead. Welcome back. Now for some news from the region. The Bahamas government says China has agreed in principle to allow the Caribbean community, CARICOM country, to be a country where debts involving international parties can be settled. An official statement issued following talks between Prime Minister Perry Christie and the Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing on Wednesday quoted the Chinese leaders announcing an agreement that would allow the trading of residential mortgage-backed security instruments to take place in the Bahamas. Internationally now, Sri Lanka's presidential hopefuls are awaiting results for the most closely fought election in recent history. President Mahinda Rajapaksa has dominated politics for a decade, but faced an unexpected challenge from his health minister, Maithripala Sirisena. Election officials said voter turnout was high and no complaints had been made, and observers said there were relatively few violent incidents. Rajapaksa is credited by many with ending the civil war in 2009. Troops routed the Tamil Tigers after more than 2 decades of fighting, but rights groups accused both sides in the war of atrocities, allegations the government denies. Both Rajapaksa and Sirisena are Senalisis, the major ethnic group in Sri Lanka. They were allies until November, when Sirisena announced his surprise candidacy. The former health minister stepped to gather most of the votes from the minority groups, with whom Rajapaksa is deeply unpopular. But he will also need a substantial number of votes from the Senalisis, who have generally backed the longtime president in huge numbers. Election officials will count ballots throughout the night, with a definite result expected at about midday. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the evening news. You now take a look at your bridge reports. The Damrar Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed from 5 hours on Friday, January 9 for a period of 1.5 hours. And the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed from 6 hours 45 on Friday, January 9 for a period of 1.5 hours. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by MacCorp. This is the evening news.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Victory!
Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. T20s offer West Indies chance at redemption. Nicholas Pooran suffers leg injury in car accident. Nicolet Finance remains outside top 20. And Kohli and Rahul centuries lift India in Sydney. Of course, this podcast comes to the kind compliments of MacCorp.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Victory!
Welcome back. Now for the details. We start off with some cricket news. The emerging wicketkeeper batsman Nicholas Pooran has been forced to withdraw from the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force after suffering a leg injury in a vehicular accident near his hometown in Couva on Tuesday. Pooran, 19, underwent surgery on Wednesday after suffering a fractured left ankle and a damaged left knee from the accident which occurred while he was returning home from training at the National Cricket Centre. The accident happened hours after Pooran was named on the Red Force squad, preparing for next week's Nagico Super 50 Regional One-Day Series. Pooran's absence is seen as a blow to the Red Force, which is already without the regular wicketkeeper batsman Dinesh Ramdin due to West Indies duty. And the West Indies will look for a redemption from tomorrow when the first of 3 T20 internationals will be played against host South Africa in Cape Town. While the home team will rest some key players, West Indies will be at full strength with some of the most sought-after T20 players set to take the field. while South Africa have opted to rest the informed quartet A.B. de Villiers, Hashim Amla, Dale Steyn and Morne Morkel. West Indies have boosted their side with the inclusion of T20 stars Chris Gayle, Kieran Pollard, Darren Sammy and Andre Russell. The first ball will be bowled at noon tomorrow. Closer to home, Guyana's ace squash player Nicolette Fernandez has started this year in the same position she occupied at the start of the 2014 year, according to the World International Squash Players Association website. The details in this report. Whisper updates its world rankings at the start of each month, and according to the latest post, the 31-year-old Fernandez sits at number 21 after starting with the same ranking in 2014. She remains the highest-ranked Caribbean player. The last year was a relatively stable one for the England-based athlete, moving between positions 19 and 22 during the 12-month period. Fernandez spent 6 months during 2014 at number 19, her career-best ranking, without moving up. This was partly due to being inactive during a specific month or not being able to win championships. During 2015, however, Fernandez will have numerous opportunities to break new grounds as several tournaments are lined up for the next 12 months. Fernandez, however, is slated to get into action late in February at the Windy City Open in the United States of America, where she will take on world number 16, Sarah Jane Perry of England, in the round of 32. Nicole David of Malaysia remains the world number 1, a position she has held since 2005. She currently has 29,125 points, with Ranim El Weli of Egypt in a distant second position on 18,185 points. David has won the World Championships a record 8 times. And finally, Virat Kohli became the first man to make 3 Test centuries in his first 3 innings as captain on an eventful third day of the 4th Test against Australia in Sydney. He made an unbeaten 140, while Lokesh Rahul with 110 helped India finish on 342 for 5 in response to 572 for 7 declared. Rahul was dropped on 46 by captain Steve Smith, who blamed television device Spider-Cam for the error. Spider-Cam is a camera system which gives viewers a bird's eye view of the action using cables to carry a camera on wires above the action. Australia have already secured a series after winning the first 2 tests in Adelaide and Brisbane and drawing the third in Melbourne. And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by MarCorp. And that's a wrap as well in the evening news for today, Thursday, January 8, 2015. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgian Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.